Just look at that. That is our spaghetti fritter. Fritter di spaghetti. Wow, come on. Even an Italian can't give a thumbs up for that. That is a bit special. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're doing a spaghetti fritter. Fritter di spaghetti. That's the best Italian you're going to get from me. Okay, it's an easy recipe. We have cooked spaghetti. A whole 500 gram pack. Cooked the normal way. It's cooked spaghetti, it's cold. Now, I'm changing this recipe up a little bit because I want something a little bit different. We're going to use that, but we're going to make a tomato sauce. We're going to cover that in tomato sauce. I've split some out already because we want some to go in a pan at the bottom. I want that in the middle and some to go on the top. Why? Because I want a nice crispy spaghetti fritter on the top and bottom. And I don't want to burn it with the tomato, but I don't want a plain fritter. You can do plain just with Parmesan, not a problem, Parmesan olive oil, or you can put in any cured meat, prosciutto, ham, bacon, whatever you like. I'm going to use bacon. I've got these bacon cubes. We're going to fry those up and we're going to get going. Okay, so we've got these eggs in here, look. I've got 6 eggs in here. We'll give it a beat. Just give that a mash up, like that. It's a steady one there. Want a little bit of salt and pepper. In there, some pepper. So we season that up a little bit, okay? Now we got that going on. Now I'm going to make this a little bit flavoursome because I want to be able to eat this cold with a bit of a salad. You know, a bit of cucumber, a bit of olives, whatever. Something very plain and simple. But I want to accompany it. So I'm going to cook with some Italian mixed herbs, but we're going to cook it in the pan. So that's done. We'll put that to one side. Okay, we're going to bring in a pan. Only a small pan, look, because we just want to cook off that bacon. So we're going to get a flame on, nice and steady. That's going to go in there, and we're going to render that, cook it off, and we're going to use the fat. Of course we are, it's flavour. Now if you wanted to put a little bit of olive oil, up to you. And this is smoky bacon as well. Smoky bacon cubes. So it's going to give us a lovely flavour inside there. But you know, you can just use normal unsmoked bacon, ham, anything. It doesn't matter. So let's just put a little bit of colour on there, yeah? Cook it off a little bit. Okay, when you've got your bacon cooked how you want it, if you're using bacon, let's have some of that out of there. We're going to use the oil. We don't have to put any more olive oil in here. We're going to use this bacon fat. Fabulous. Now I'm sure the Italians are going to be pulling their hair out with this one, but there you go. Okay, we want a little low flame for this. Very low. And we're going to go in there with a couple of tablespoons of tomato puree, tomato paste. Now it might split and splash, so be careful. Now we just want to give this a little cooking in that oil. Take out the rawness of the tomato puree. Little bit of sugar going in here. Optional, recommended. And we're just going to go in there with some flavour. A pinch of Italian seasoning. Optional again. You can just do this plain. Not a problem. Little bit of black pepper and a little bit of salt. Give that a nice little stir through and bloom up those spices. Boiling water. Nice little cook on there. We want a thick-ish tomato sauce. Just give it a little minute in there just to thicken up. Just cook out that rawness. Just thicken it up a little bit. We don't want it too watery in our fritter. We want a nice tomato flavour. Just a little bit more, look, it's just a little bit too moist. Now obviously we've used the bacon fat to actually cook this tomato puree. But if you didn't cook bacon, if you're using ham or prosciutto ham or whatever you're going to use, you know, you would probably have to put a little bit of olive oil in here and cook off the tomato paste. We don't want that sour tomato paste flavour inside our fritter. That should be okay. Flame off, that's that done. Just put that on there a second while we get rid of this cooker. Okay, our egg mixture. Give that a little twizzle round. Make sure it's not stuck anywhere. What we want to do in there, our parmo. Get our parmesan in there. Now this is cooling and we need it to cool down because we don't want it to cook those eggs. What we're going to do is take our spaghetti, that's going in there, like that. You either get your hand in or a spoon in, and you want all this mixed in. So you want that in there, come on. And if it's not going to work with a spoon, like this isn't for now, get your hand in and get that all the way around your spaghetti. In there, your bacon. That's distributed nicely, I feel. That's looking good. Okay, in there with our tomato. Bring it in. We want that tomato flavour in there. Come on. That's what we're talking. Oh yeah. There you do. That'll do. You want a pan with a lid. Now you can cook this uncovered, not a problem, but we're going to put a lid on, okay? And it'll help all that egginess stick together inside our fritter. In there, a little bit of olive oil. Keep the olive oil because what you can do when you're cooking the fritter, you can put a little bit more around the outside and crisp up the outsides. What we need to do is get a layer of that in there. Okay, and then we want that tomato mixture on top of there. Just shape it in like that. Bang bang on a non-stick pan. Someone will complain. That on there. Now you want a flame on extremely low. Very low. Now what we're going to try and do is crisp up the other side. Okay, on there with a lid. Oh, it only just fits, look. Get your lid on, and that's going to steam, cook in there and set up that eggy mixture inside our fritter. Fingers crossed. So whilst it's cooking away there like that, we just need to bring in the side a little bit. Like that. It's just like making a standard fritter, you know. That's going to bring us a side in. Lid back on, just keep going. Okay, I'm going to take the lid off and we're going to cook it without the lid on now. Just to cook off some of that moisture. Just don't forget there's moisture in here with this spaghetti. Just bring it in. Okay, we've got to be flipping this. Now I've got a plate that only just fits that. I've got a pan lid and it's got these studs on from the handle. Now this spaghetti could get stuck on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little sneaky one. It might work, it might not. We're going on there with some olive oil. And hopefully it should slide off. Now, if you have a flat plate big enough, you ain't doing none of this. But you know, you've got to improvise when you're cooking. So we need to turn that. So that's going on there. Okay, nice and straightforward. Gonna flip that over like that. We're gonna put the pan back there like that. And we are going in there with that. Nice and steady. There you go. That is a beautiful job. And we're going to give it about 6 or 7 minutes on that side. There you go. Just bring in the sides, neaten it up a bit where we've just scraped it in. Just make sure you give it a little shufty round like that. Flattening the sides. Now you can't really tell what's going on underneath, because even if you try and lift it, you're going to break your fritter. Okay, don't forget it's all strands of spaghetti. But that's looking sensational. And I think what we're going to do is get that out of there and put it on a plate. Now I'm going to opt for that. That's cooked already. We'll find out. I'm going to use the old pan lid again, and then we'll upturn it onto a plate. That's the plan. So flip it over. Now opt for the top that you want. Do you want that more brown side underneath, or do you want that on the top? That lot on your plate. All we're going to do now is let it cool, and then we'll be able to cut a slice. Just let it cool down. Come on, we're in. We got to get in here, haven't we? Straight in there. Oh yeah, come on. Oh, crunchy spaghetti on the end. Come on, we are in. Oh, look at that. That is absolutely spectacular. Come on, look at that. That looks a bit special, doesn't it? Oh yeah. Just look at that. That is our spaghetti fritter. Fritter di spaghetti. Wow, come on. Even an Italian can't give a thumbs up for that. That is a bit special. Come on. That is sensational. You know, you can pick it up actually, and you can eat it like this. Oh yeah, you can. Come on, let's get in here. Straight in here. Oh, you can't even come through the top, it's crunchy. Look at that. Look at that juiciness there. Oh, come on. That is through the roof. That is a fantastic fritter there. Oh yeah. Come in there. Easy to come through, look, because it obviously cooked inside, and you've got that little bit of a crunch top and a little bit of a crunch bottom. That is sensational. Look at that. Oh yeah. That is Italian all over. That is a fantastic spaghetti fritter. Oh. Now I've got a bit of a Greek salad, so it's a bit of a clash really, but that is sensational. I'm loving that you've got that little bit of tomato-ness going on inside there. However, it's not tomatoey, you know. We know it's there, It's given us that little bit of a flavour, because if not, it's just going to be spaghetti and parmesan. Nothing wrong with that, obviously, but this gives us that little bit extra inside there. Look at that. Come on. That is sensational. That's delicious. And obviously you can warm this, you can freeze it, you know, eat on picnics. Oh, it's just, eat it any day actually, it doesn't matter. Come on. Oh yeah. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, that is fantastic. And that little bit of smoky ham in there, that smoky bacon, that is sensational. Well, there you go. If you like what we're doing, tell everybody how easy it is to make a spaghetti fritter. I mean, that is just sensational. If you do like what we're doing, big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. We'll catch you in the next video. That is amazing.